This session is about ending relationships, and that can be anything from a friendship, a professional relationship, a romantic relationship, so all kinds of relationships. So we're going to look at when to end a bad relationship. When is it enough? When do you call time on a relationship? What kind of factors do you need to think about? So how do we define a destructive relationship? Well, it has the quality of destroying or completely spoiling the quality of the relationship or aspects of yourself as well. So that can involve lots of different things. So it can destroy physically your body. It can, physically harm you. Your sense of safety, your self-esteem. Destructive relationships can just chip and chip and chip away at what you think about yourself and how you perceive yourself. Your sense of integrity. It can make you feel as if you're pushed into a position to do things that you maybe wouldn't normally do, and you lose your sense of integrity. Your happiness, they can make you miserable. These types of relationships can just make life really, really horrible for people. Your peace of mind, and also impacts on your ability to care about that other person, because the relationship is so kind of destroying and toxic that it makes it really hard to then care about that person. An interfering relationship it's things that can block or make things difficult for you, and that can include things like you being able to achieve goals that are important to you. People might stop you from going to college, or stop you from bettering yourself, or stop you from going to work, whatever it might be, that is part of your goals and your things that you're working towards. They can stop you from doing those things. Your ability to enjoy life and do things that you like doing. So limit where you go, who you see, what you do. Your relationships with other people, or the welfare of other people that you love. So people can have a massive impact on yourself, but also the wider relationships that you have in your life. If you end a relationship, the key is to do it sort of from a wise mind position. So not an emotional mind position. So maybe not in the moment of an argument or a row, but you have to weigh up this decision and really push for that decision from a wise mind perspective. So if your relationship is important to you and it's not destructive, there is hope, and you can try problem solving to repair a difficult relationship. You can work on your communication and your assertiveness skills and try and mend those rifts, because quite often we can just jar within our relationships, and it's about talking about it and working through it. But if it is destructive, then that's obviously something very different. So we can use a skill called cope ahead, and that's where we imagine ourselves coping. So I always like to think of it as having a crystal ball in front of us, and you can almost see yourself in the future, and you're imagining yourself managing that situation, and observing yourself. What am I doing? How do I know I'm coping? What can I see myself doing? So I'm speaking very calmly. I'm presenting the facts. I'm not getting cross. I'm sat down. I'm appearing very calm. Whatever it is that you're doing that in that moment you are managing it, what can you see? So our minds are really, really good at, we write scripts for ourselves all the time about, potential disasters, and this could happen and that could happen and that could happen, and we've got, really good skills in there, but we could also use that not just for negative outcomes, but we can use it to imagine positive outcomes as well. So we've all got that skill to imagine the future, so we can use it to cope ahead. And you can practice ending the relationship as well ahead of time. So you can practice what you're going to say. You can, talk it out. You can talk to yourself in the mirror. So yeah, coping ahead. We can also draw on skills like Dear Man and Give Fast, and those videos are they're in the selection of videos that on this YouTube channel. But so you can use those skills, and they're about communicating your needs and how you do that and how you keep yourself tidy. So you can look those skills up as well, because those skills will be really useful when it comes to things like ending a relationship and working on that. We can practice opposite action for love when we love the wrong person by reminding ourselves why love is not justified for that person. You know, all the things that they've done that have hurt you, that have upset you, that demonstrate that they don't love you back, because you know you wouldn't do that to somebody that you loved. We can remind ourselves of all those things to try and challenge the feeling of love, and because it's an emotion, it's still an emotion like any other, and we can challenge it. Do the opposite of loving urges. So if you get the loving urge to want to text them, to want to phone them, to if you see them, you want to, the loving urge is to hug them or whatever, we can not do those things, and we can choose to do something differently. So don't respond to that loving urge. And also avoid contact with reminders of loved ones. So whether it's having certain things in your house, you can get rid of them. Whether it's you know, a film comes on the telly that you both used to watch together all the time, or a programme, whatever, turn it over. You can avoid certain things that remind you of that person if you're trying to move away from that person and that relationship. Coping when a relationship ends. So how do we do that without making things worse? So what we can do is we can accept that it's over. We can try and make things right. Keeping ourselves tidy and going to bed at night, having that self-respect that we've done what we can in a tidy way. Staying away from the person if they want you to. If they don't want to see you, don't turn up on the doorstep every 5 minutes, and don't text them all the time. So stay away and respect their choices as well as respecting your own. Say sorry if you need to. It might not be that you're going to repair that relationship by any means, but if you've done something and you're sorry for that, then say it and leave it there. So don't go on about it, just leave it. So there are things we can always do that can make things worse, and it's never our intention to make things worse, but there are certain things we definitely do that do make it worse. So don't hound a person. Don't turn up where you know they're going to be. Don't get in touch with their friends and family constantly. Don't stalk them in the virtual world on Instagram and Facebook, liking all the pictures, commenting on all the pictures. Just, if you've made a decision to end a relationship, just leave well alone. And don't threaten suicide. You know, if you don't get back with me, I'm going to kill myself. That's not a good foundation for any relationship, that someone's with you just so you don't kill yourself. So that's not where you want to be, and that's not, like I said, that's not the kind of relationship you want. You want someone to be with you because they love you and they care about you, not just because they're scared. Don't blame them on Facebook, because you're falling into losing your self-respect and not keeping yourself tidy. You just look bitter and angry, and so that reflects upon you then. That's not keeping yourself tidy. And also things like getting aggressive and nasty, again, not keeping yourself tidy. You've fallen into emotional mind there. You've lost your sense of control, and we don't want to do those things. Don't start a vendetta against somebody. Don't kind of build up a party of people that also hate that person. You know, that person wasn't right for you, and you weren't right for that person. That's fair enough, But there will be someone out there for that person. It doesn't mean that you have to turn the world against that person, because you wouldn't want someone to do that to you either. It's just sometimes people aren't meant to be together, and that's fine and that's okay. Don't talk about them to other people. Again, that's kind of building up that vendetta and building up that support system for you and your choices. Well, you don't need that support, do you? Because you know that relationship wasn't okay, because that's why you've ended it. So keep yourself tidy. Self-respect, what is it? I'm bang on about it, and I keep saying keep yourself tidy, but what does that even mean? Respecting yourself is about behaving in a way that feels okay, acting in a way that makes you feel capable and good about yourself, as opposed to acting in a way that makes you feel ashamed, embarrassed, or, you know, we don't want to manage a difficult situation by managing difficult feelings by then replacing them with other difficult feelings. We want to be able to go to bed at night and think, do you know what, I did the best I could. I handled it in a way that I'm quite proud of. I'm not ashamed of in any way. If I was in that situation again, I'd do exactly the same thing. That's about maintaining your self-respect. So it's about keeping yourself tidy. So have a think about what activities give you self-respect. You know, what are the things that do make you feel good about yourself? You know, it might be that the way you interact with people and reaching out to people, being kind to people, you know, doing thoughtful things. What are the things that you can do on a daily basis that make you go to bed and think, yeah, I'm really glad I did that, and that made me feel really good, and that made me feel really nice, and I feel a part of something there, and I feel like I've connected with that person there. Have a think about what it is that you do, and what kind of things bring you self-respect and joy. What kind of things make you lose self-respect? Quite often it's things that we do when we fall into that emotional mind place. We say things we wish we'd never said. We do things we wish we'd never done because it's purely driven on emotion. So, you know, whether it's shouting, screaming, swearing, calling someone all sorts of names, saying things that you can never take back. You know, it's not always helpful to share all of our inner thoughts all the time, because, you know, some things just don't need to be said. But when we fall into that emotional mind, we lose all inhibitions and we just say things that we wish we'd never done. So these are skills to use from now. It says you might have made mistakes in the past. I guarantee people have, because I think everybody has. And we can't change that. We can learn from them by all means, but what's important is not to ruminate about them. But what we can do is we can choose to do things differently from now on, going forward from this moment. We can choose to act in a different way. We can choose to behave in a different way. So other people will take time getting used to you being different and using different skills, and we don't often like change, and we don't often like changing other people as well, so it might be difficult for them to get used to it. But stick with it and keep yourself tidy and keep practicing, and they'll catch up in the end, because people just do. They just take a bit of time to adjust.